Punar Agamanaya Sarvesham Swagatam. Welcome back to Easy Sanskrit session number 9. And I hope you all had a nice holiday. I had a very busy time in India and later on in Nashville, in Tennessee, just back in normal circuit here. And we continue our lessons with session 9 today. And some of you have turned in the last exercises and some haven't. So anyway, we are going to review that also. So let me begin with this session right away and with a welcome note to Mr. Nathan from Kenya. This is session 9. I hope you're all able to see the slides behind. And as usual, we start with our prayer to Guru Parampara. Sadashiva Samarambam Sankaracharya Madhyamam Asmat Acharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. It is the Guru who gives us the light, leads us. So, Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. A quick review of last session 8. What did we learn? Quite a few things we learned last time. We learned the usage of some of the common Sanskrit words and also how to ask a question. In fact, in exercises, we have some questions too. And we learned some very fascinating aspects, including sentences which don't have a verb, but nevertheless convey the meaning as effectively as a sentence having a verb. We learned about the beauty of combining verb roots and nouns. I gave you some examples how the roots are expanded to give rise to new verbs and new nouns, like naya, nayanam, upanayanam. No, you keep on adding like bricks. There is a central stem and you keep on adding it. So you get a beautiful word and then you can form sentences. We learned about prefixes and suffixes. Suffixes to nouns, I gave some examples. Also about present and past tenses with some examples. And we learned about the various parts of the body. I gave you a very short story, a Sanskrit verse, and a concluding prayer. So this is what we learned. Those of you who missed it, just go through the video again. Okay, having said that, let's go to the review and also what we are going to do today. First, I'm going to review the exercises 9 and 10, which were given last time. And some of you have sent in the answers, some correctly, some with little mistakes. You will today learn numbers, application of numbers, time, periods of time, days of the week, seasons. Also about Panchangam, what does it mean? Some nice verses with meanings will also be there with the concluding prayer as usual. Okay, let's see the answers to last session. Sanskrit to English, Sitayaha Pati Ramaha. It's very simple actually. Sita's husband is Rama. Pati means husband. Now, some of you have given a different answer, saying Sita is Rama's wife. It's equally correct, but it is not the correct translation. I think 2 of you have given that as Sitayaha. Sita is Rama's wife. How do you say Sita is Rama's wife? Sita Ramasya Patnihi. But here we say Sitayaha Pati Rama. Sitayaha, Sita's Pati, husband, Ramaha. Sita's husband is Rama. Very simple. Bala Nrityanti. No, Bala is plural. You can know it by seeing the verb Nrityanti. Anti usually comes when it is a plural. So it is meaning the girls are dancing. Some of you have given very correct answers. Some of you have given singular, that girl is dancing, but it means really girls are dancing. Patami Samskritam Nityam. Again, a very simple sentence. Patami refers to me, means me, I. Patami, I read. Samskritam, you know very well. It's Samskritam. Nityam is every day. I read Sanskrit every day. Now, one person has said, I study Sanskrit regularly. Regularly is not daily. So this is actually, Nitya means every day or daily. So I read, Patami, not study. Study is different. Patami means read. I read Sanskrit every day. I think I also have one more answer here. Also saying I study Sanskrit always. This Nitya means every day or daily. Okay. The fourth one, Nadim Samaya Vasamaha. Nadi, everybody knows, it's river. Vasamaha is plural again. Vasam is to live. Vasamaha is to live. And it is plural. Therefore, we say we live. Samaya is near. We live near the river. Now, let's see the answers here. Archana has done very well. She has answered almost every one of these questions correctly. I have other answers. The river flows nearby. No, there is no flow. Vasamaha refers to live. We live near the river. So these are simple sentences in which you can see the meanings are very simple and grammatically correct. Sabhayam Mantri Abhashata. Mantri, everybody knows, is minister, right? Sabha is the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha is referring to assembly. So you can connect up Mantri and assembly easily. Bhasha is to speak. Samskrita is a bhasha. It's a language. Abhashata refers to spoke. It's past tense. The minister spoke in the assembly. And let me see the answers, what you have given. Yeah, so many of you have done it correctly. One person has said ministers are sitting in the assembly, but sitting in the assembly is not correct. It is the minister spoke in the assembly. Okay, very simple. And these exercises, please revise it again, because in future you will be able to use the same thing for other contexts. Okay, let's see the exercise 10, English to Sanskrit. Where is your home? Very simple question. Home means griham. You can say tava is your. Tava griham. Kutra. Last time we learned this word. Kutra, tatra, yada, tada, right? Kutra is where. Kutra asti. Asti is. Where is your home? Tava griham. Kutra asti. Tava is more respectful. Tava griham. Kutra asti. Because we don't know the gender of the person. So when you don't know, you use the word tava griham. Kutra asti. Let's see the answers, what we have. Griha kutra asti is one answer. And another answer I get is Bhavan kutra asti. No, Bhavan means where are you? It is actually referring to the home. So it should be Tava griham kutra asti. Where do lions live? Now, these are all questions which we covered in the last lesson. Lions, everybody knows Simha. Lion is Simha. Simmaha is plural. Simmaha, kutra where, vasanti. I said inti means plural. So here Simmaha, kutra, vasanti. Very simple, really. Where do lions live? Now let's see the answers we have. Somebody has said kutra simha asti. Now that is singular. Where does lion Where is the line? That's what it means. But that is wrong. Simha kutra vasanti. Simha kutra nivasati is another answer, but vasanti is correct. Is Sanskrit sweet? Very simple question. Sanskritam. Maduram is sweet. Wow. Question. You know, there is no question mark in Sanskrit. Unlike English, there is no question mark. You have to, when you say it, wow, it's understood as a question. Sanskritam Maduram. Wow. And what will be your answer? Sanskritam Maduram. Whose son is Rama? Kasya is whose? Kasya putraha Ramaha. Whose son is Rama? Very simple, really, isn't it? This is the answers, what we have got here. Saha Ramaha putraha. No, that is wrong again. Yes, I think other answers are correct. Kasya putra Ramaha is correct. I think only one, others are all correct. Lastly, what is his name for someone who is nearby? Tasya Yetasya, I explained last time, right? Yetasya refers to someone nearby. Yetasya Namaha Kim. What? What is his name? Yetasya Namaha Kim. Now, very simple sentences, very simple questions. In fact, all these 5 are questions, which we covered in our last lesson. So review that again. Now, these are examples which you can use it for other context also. The same style, you can use that. Okay. So having said that, we will proceed with the next slide. We're going to learn numbers now. Many of you who are familiar with Hindi or Marathi will find it very easy. Only those who are not familiar with Hindi may find it a little difficult. But nevertheless, let me start. 1. Ekam. Ekam. You heard the name Ekambaram, isn't it? Many of you from Tamil Nadu would have known the name Ekambaram. Ambaram means garment. Ekambaram means one garment. Lord Shiva wears only one garment, which is a tiger skin. So he is called Ekambaram. Ambram is different. Ambram is mango. It means one mango. I believe there is a tree there which produces only one mango per year, something like that. So Ekam refers to one. Ekam Satyam. Ekam Brahmam is one. 2. In fact, you find the similarity between Dve and 2. Dve refers to 2. Dve. Trini. You see also 3 and Trini, there is a similarity, right? 3 and Trini. Very easy for you to remember. 3, Trini. 3 refers to 3 numbers. Trini. 4. Chatvari. Chatvari refers to 4. 5. Pancha. How many fingers we have? Pancha. Pancha is 5. 6 is Shat. S-H-A-T, Shat. It's pronounced Shat. Going further, 7. Sapta. Sapta refers to 7. Sapta Rishi, you know that? The 7 stars. People also have the name Sapta Rishi. Sapta Rishi. There are 7 rishis. Also, they are seen as stars, Sapta Rishi stars. It's a galaxy of 7 stars. 8. Ashta. 8. Like a spider has 8 legs. Octopus, 8 tentacles. 8. Nava. A very, very auspicious number. Navagraham, you say. Navaratnam. 9 different gems. Like you have in a ring, all the 9 diamonds, 9 different kinds of precious stones. Navaratnam. You also have 9 different moods. So 9 is a number which has different kinds of connotations in Sanskrit. Dasha means 10. Dasha Grivan. Ravana had 10 heads. So Dasha, you have 10 fingers. Ekadasha, you add 1 to Dasha. Ekadasha. In English, 1 and 11 really have no connection. But here, it is 1 plus 10. Ekam plus Dasha, which means Ekadasha. You have Ekadashi, the 11th phase of the moon. You similarly add 2 to 10, it becomes Dwadasha, which means 12. Which means 12. Likewise, you keep adding the numbers, you will get many other numbers, like you add 3 to 10, it becomes Trayodasha. You add 4 to 10, it becomes Chaturdasha, which means 14. You add Pancha to 10, it becomes 15, which is Panchadasha. You add Shat actually to Dasha, it becomes Shodasha. You add 7 to 10, becomes 17, Saptadasha. Ashtadasha. Navadasha. So you can keep adding to get the numbers from 11 to 19. Now I'm going to give you the numbers further. 20. Vimshati is 20. Shati actually refers to here 10. 2 into 10 means 20. 30. Trimshata. Sattvarimshata. Panchashata. Shashtihi. Saptatihi. Asitihi. Navatihi. Shatam. So you have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. The number goes further. You have 1000, which is called Sahasra. You have Sahasranamam, which is 1000 names. Sahasra. And what we call a lakh, 1 lakh rupiah, you say 1 lakh, laksha. So very recently I went to a laksharchanai. It means 1 lakh archanas to a deity. Laksha is 1 lakh. 1 lakh word is not there in English. They go by million here. They don't use it here in the USA. But in British times, we were using it lakh. Like that, koti means 10 million. You have therefore different terminologies, which is denoting different numbers. So it's just to give you an idea of how numbers are described in Sanskrit. Let's go further. I'm going to give you an amazing formula here, which our ancient people discovered. And it has got such a brilliant application. It is called Kadapayadi Sutra. It's described in one line, Kadi, Navatadi, Navapadi, Panchaka, Yad Ashtaka, Shaha, Sunyam. Don't worry about the meaning of it right now, but I'm going to explain to you what this sutra means. You know, in the telephones, you have numbers and they also have digits. So in the US, you will find some people who want to remember the phone numbers, they put the alphabets in place of numbers so that it's easy to remember. You can't remember numbers so well, but if you say, call me, and it is easy to interpret those alphabets corresponding to the numbers. Like A and B refer to 1, let's say. C and D refer to 2. So from that, you can interpret the numbers. Now, this is something which you know exists in phones. But this sutram or formula, ancient formula, discovered this long, long ago, thousands of years back, where they assigned numbers to the Sanskrit alphabets. Kadi Nava means those letters which start from Ka. Nava, I just now told you, Nava means 9, right? Starting from Ka, 9 letters that follow are given numbers in this manner, like you have from starting from Ka, 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 Ga, Ga, assigned 1, 2, 3, 4. E, Cha, 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 Ja, Ja, number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Similarly, you have Ta, Ta, Da, Da, Ta, Di, Nava. Assign the numbers, there are 9 of them. Pa, Pa, Ba, Ba, 5 of them. Yara, Lava, Sasha, Saha, there are 8 of them. Yat, Ashtaka. Shaha is assigned the number 0. Shaha, Sunyam. So each of these are assigned numbers in usage. So in application, you have wonderful applications. I'm going to show one of them to you, how this is applied and how the ancient wisdom played part in discovering many of the scientific truths which we know today. Now, this is a slokam, which is a neology, you can say, to both Krishna as well as to Shiva. It can be interpreted in both the ways. I'm not going into the meaning of this. Like Gopi Bhagyam, it is a fortune of gopis. Madhu Vrata, the slayer of Madhu demon. It can also be interpreted in a different way as an neology to Lord Shiva. But what it really means is, if you assign numbers to these, according to the Katapayadi Sutra, you get a numeral of 32 digits. Like Ga, Go, you assign the number 3 according to the formula we saw yesterday. In the previous slide. P is 1, Ba is 4. So we keep on assigning numbers to these letters which you find in this slokam. You get a numeral of 32 digits, which is the correct value of pi. Which you see on the right side here in the green inset. That's the value we get, up to 32 digits. It's amazing, it's very fascinating application of a Katapayati Sutra. I'm just illustrating this to see how Sanskrit has played a part in deriving many formula in the application of numbers to digits, and also telling us some of these scientific truths which were discovered later on, but it is an application here. There are many such applications. It's very fascinating. I'm just giving you to show you the beauty of Sanskrit here. Okay, let's go to time. How do we define time? Time is called Vadanam. Vadanam refers to clock, o'clock. You say 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. Vadanam refers to o'clock. So if you say 1 o'clock, it means Eka Vadanam. 1 o'clock, Eka Vadanam. 2 o'clock, it is Dvivadanam, Trivadanam, Chaturvadanam, Panchavadanam, and so on. You have Shadavadanam, Saptavadanam, Ashtavadanam. You see, it is just application of number with Vadanam. Just as you say 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Fairly simple. If I ask you how to say 5 o'clock, you can say very easily Panchavadanam, because Pancha is 5, Vadanam is o'clock. So you can go up to Dwadasha Vadanam. Okay, let's go to find out specific time. Kaha Samayaha. If you want to ask, what is a time? The equivalent Sanskrit word is Kaha Samayaha. 12 o'clock is Dvadasha Vadanam. Now, what is the time here? It is 12:15. How do you say 12:15? Now, here, unfortunately or fortunately, there is no concept of minutes. It is like good old days, we used to say quarter to 12 or quarter past 12, half past 12. This is a British way of saying timing. I remember days when we used to ask time to somebody, it's quarter past 12. They'll never say 12:15. Similarly, here you have, when you say 12:15, you say Sapada Dvadasha Vadanam. Dvadasha Vadanam is 12 o'clock. Sapada, pada is a quarter. Is a quarter. So quarter past is Sapada. Sapada Dvadasha Vadanam. If you say 1:15, how do you say? Sapada. Go to the previous slide. Eka Vadanam. Right? Similarly, if you say 12:30, Sa Ardha Dvadasha Vadanam. Ardha is half. Sa refers to past. Sardha Dvadasha Vadanam. Now, if it is 12:45, which is 15 minutes less or 1/4 less to 1 o'clock, you say Padona Ekavadanam. Una means short. In Tamil also you have the word Unam. If somebody limps, அவனுக்கு என்ன ஊனமா அப்படின்னு கேட்பா. Unam. Unam means something short. So Padona Ekavadanam. A quarter short of 1 o'clock. That becomes 12:45. Padona Ekavadanam. So you have similar system followed for all times. Now, how do you say minutes? You can, of course, say 12 o'clock, 12:15 as Dvadasha Vadanam, and 15 minutes you can say Panchadasha Nimishaha. You can say that. But generally, this is all in quarters and half. Okay, days of the week. I think this is fairly simple. Most of you would know this, as Monday is something which is referring to moon, and Indu, he refers to the moon. So he says Induvasaraha. It's all referring to the planets. Tuesday is called Bhaumavasaraha. Wednesday is called Saumyavasaraha. Thursday refers to Guru, therefore Guru Vasaraha. Shukra Vasaraha. Shani Vasaraha. Bhanu Vasaraha. 7 days of the week. In fact, in Pune, we have different areas by the name of the weekdays. You have Somvarpet, they also called Somvaram, where I studied. You have Mangalvarpet. Tuesday is called Mangalvar. It's supposed to be a very auspicious one. You have Budhvarpet. You have Shukravarpet. Not very famous though. Shanivarpet. So you have days of the week assigned to specific locations. And it's very easy to remember. And remember, these were named hundreds and hundreds of years back, probably even prior to Shivaji. So they were named at that time, which is being followed till today. That is the beauty of the Sanskrit, that you have these names, even depicting certain locations. So having said that, let's go about days. How do you say yesterday, today, and tomorrow? Kada, when? Every day, prati dinam. Dinam refers to day. Prati is every. Every day, prati dinam. Aham prati dinam samskritam patami. I read Sanskrit every day. Aham prati dinam pujayami. I do puja every day. See that? Pratidinam, very simple. Today, adya is today. Shvaha, tomorrow. What do you say? Day after tomorrow? Parasvaha, parasvaha. Yesterday, hyaha, H-Y-A-H-A, hyaha. Which ha plus ya, hyaha. Day before yesterday, parahyaha. In Marathi, you say parva. And for tomorrow, you say udya. So you have every day pratidinam, today adya, tomorrow swaha, day after tomorrow paraswaha, yesterday hyaha, day before yesterday parahyaha. So these depict the days, yesterday, today, tomorrow, day before yesterday, day after tomorrow. Periods of time. No, the Sanskrit is very specific about the periods of time. That's why probably people excelled in astrology and astronomy there. You say chanaha is instant. An eye wink of an eye, chanaha. Muhurtaha means 1.5 hours. You know, we have muhurtam in all auspicious functions, weddings or birthdays or whatever you celebrate. There is something called muhurtam, a span of time in which the rituals have to be completed. The auspicious time called muhurtaha, which is typically 1.5 hours. Saptaha actually 7 days, which is referring to a week. Saptaha. Some of these Bhagavatam or religious discourses, you have Saptaham, which is done over 7 days. Pakshaha refers to a fortnight. You have 2 fortnights. Krishna Pakshaha, Sukla Pakshaha. Krishna Paksha is the moon fading out. Sukla Pakshaha is the moon rising up. Masaha, month. Vatsaraha, year. Prabhatam, prataha, morning. Sayam, evening. Nisha, ratri, night. Dinam, day. So you have different periods of time. And in any of these functions that we do, religious functions, we specify the time and we take a resolution to do a puja or to do a specific activity. We resolve to do that precisely at that particular time, defining all these periods of time. You're going to see that a little later. Also seasons, which is called Rutu. Vasanta Rutu, spring, which usually is in March and May. You have mid of March till mid of May, Vasanta Rutu. I mentioned about a poem long ago, Kakak Kakaha Pikakpiha Vasanta Kale Prapte Kakak Kakaha Pikakaha. When spring comes, a crow is a crow. Grishma refers to summer, which is May to July, mid of May to mid of July. Varsha Ruta, which we are going through now, usually it's called Varsha because it is a monsoon time. You have rains in various parts of India right now. In fact, Bombay is getting frequent rains in these months. So also other parts. So Varsha is actually the shower. So it's called Varsha Rutau. Then autumn comes, Sharad Rutau, September to November. Hemanta Rutau, which is cool, November, January. And Shishira Rutu, which is January to March. So we have these 6 seasons during the year, each one having a name: Vasanta, Grishma, Varsha, Sharat, Hemanta, Shishira. Okay, we have what is called Panchangam. You must have heard this word. Pancha Angam, 5 parts in an almanac. What are those 5 parts? Or 5 limbs? One is Tithi, face of the moon, related to the face of the moon. Vara, which is the day. Nakshatra, which is pertaining to the star, which is ruling on that. Yoga and Karana. These also refer to the combination of the longitudes of sun and moon, which is all astronomical, and these are attributes related to the motions of moon and celestial bodies. Once upon a time in India, in villages, there used to be a person who was an expert in almanac. They didn't have computers, they had no other scientific aids to determine the precise location of planets. Like, for example, when an eclipse occurs, they would predict correctly what is the start of the eclipse and what is the ending of the eclipse, with no aids. And he will go, you got called Panchangakaran or almanac person, he will go home to home and tell each home the 5 attributes of the day: Tithi, Vara, Nakshatra, Yoga, Karana. And people used to give him grains, vegetables, something to lead his life, and sometimes money, so that he made a living. I don't know whether this practice exists now, but it used to be. And today you have almanacs, which gives you all these 5 limbs, Panchangam, 15 Tithis, which are the face of the moon, 7 Varas, 27 Nakshatras, 27 Yogas, which have the combination of sun and moon latitudes, longitudes, and 11 Karanas. And there is something called Hora, which is, you say hour, right? In English, you say hour, which is derived from Hora. And each day has 24 Horas. So when you do time, location specific, you specify very correctly where are you in the period of time. You have the 4 yugas: Krita, Treta, Dwapara, Kali. We are right now in Kali Yuga. And there are 1,000 Mahayuga. One is called Mahayuga, sum of 4 yugas. It's called Mahayuga. I don't know how many years are there in one yuga, but it is thousands of years. But 1,000 Mahayugas make one Kalpa, which is one day, assumed to be one day for Brahma. And Kalpa ruled by 14 Manus in succession. Now we have Sweta Varaha Kalpa. Say 28th Mahayuga. Ashtavimsati Tame. When you say the Sankalpam, you say Ashtavimsati Tame. It means we are in the 28th Mahayuga. Dvitiya Pararte is the second part of Brahma's life. Brahma is not a permanent position, he is subject to change. Pratame Pade, in the first quarter of this Yuga. Dvipe, which the place where you are, which is supposed to be a big island. And Panchangam specify the time period. So when you do resolution, you say, Mama Upata Samasta Durida Shaitwara. I will explain to you the meaning later on, but the point here is the description of time and location. Subhe Sobhane Muhurte Adya Brahmaha Dvitiya Parate Sweta Varaha Kalpe Vaivasvata Manvantare Ashtavimsitame Kaliyuge Pradame Pade. In America, it is called Kraunchadipam. India is in Jambu Dvipam. So we say Kraunchadipe. We say Ramanaka Varshe here. In India, we say Bharata Varshe. Bharata Kante, we say in India. Here we say Indra Kante or America Kante. Meroho Paschime Parshve in the eastern side. So you have the Samvatsare, Ayane, which is sun's movement, Ruto, Mase, Pakshe, Tito, Nakshatre, Yuktayam. You also specify the weekday, Yuktayam, Asyam, Subhaditau. See, in the Sankalpam, you specify very accurately where you are and what is time at which you are taking it. So precise. And it is believed that such a description will reinforce your resolution to undertake a particular activity. So, the time is all specified here in the Sankalpam. Okay, a nice verse I'm going to give you on time. Ayushaha Chana Ekopi. Ayushaha in lifetime. Ayus, you say, no? Ayus is referring to life. In one's life, Chana Ekopi. Chana is instant. I mentioned earlier, twinkling of an eye. If it is lost, a second is lost, it cannot be regained. Ekopi, not even 1 second. Ayushaha Chana Ekopi. Na labhyaha swarna koti bihi. Na means no. You see similarity between no and na. Na labhyaha, you cannot get it. With what? Swarna koti bihi, even by giving all these precious gems, your wealth. You give away all your wealth, Swarna koti bihi, all your millions of dollars or whatever you have, or jewels, gems, Swarna koti bihi, you will not be able to get it back. If it is spent, it is spent. Even a single second in life, you cannot get it by exchanging or giving away your precious jewels. Sa chenni rattakam nitaha. That's why sa is hence. Hence. Say anirattakam nitaha kanu hanis todyatika. Honey is wasting it. It is a big mistake to waste time. So this is the importance of time, that you cannot get any spent time by wealth or anything else. So it stresses the importance of time. And there is a quotation here by Charles Darwin: a man who dares to waste 1 hour of time has not discovered the value of life. So time is so precious. And this a little verse explains the importance of time. Going further, we have a nice concluding prayer which is taken from the Purusha Suktam. It's called Shanti Mantra, which explains how gracious the language of Sanskrit is. It explains how broad-minded the Vedas are in wishing well to everyone. It's very positive. You'll be surprised, there are hardly any swear words in Sanskrit. Unlike many other languages where you have many demeaning words, swear words, you don't have them. So when you speak Sanskrit and you read Sanskrit scriptures, your mind gets tuned to that. And you feel very positive about life. You'll get very healthy feelings because there are no such weird words which demean anybody. It means well for everyone. Therefore, you also feel well when you read such slokams or prayers, or you read Sanskrit in general. Very highly positive. It stimulates your nadis into positive thinking. So here is one which is reflecting that kind of a nice feeling. Om Tacham Yoravrinemahe Gatum Yajnaya Gatum Yajnapataye Daivi Swastirastunaha Swastirmanushebhyaha Urtvam Jigatu Peshajam Sanno Astudvipate Sanchatushpate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Tacham Yoravrinemahe. Tacham. Touch means that. Tattvamasi. You say tat. You see similarity between tat and that. Tat and that. Tacham. Which is that? We choose that. It is referring obviously to the Almighty. You can call it by any name. You can call it God, you can call Vishnu, you can call Shiva, you can get Lord Jesus, you can call Allah, whatever name. That one. We choose that. Tacham Yoravrinemahe Gatum Yajnaya. Yajnam means sacrifice or rituals. Yajnam has got number of meanings, but a sacrifice or a ritual, we will praise that. There are sacrifices in every religion. Fasting, for example, is a sacrifice. It's a ritual. During Ramzan, people fast. In Ekadashi, Hindus fast. There are similar rituals in every religion you have. Gatum Yajnaya. Let us praise that. We'll sing in praise of that sacrifice. Gatum Yajnapataye. We'll sing in praise of the Lord. Yajnapataye. Pataye means the Lord of those rituals. It's very cleverly, it is avoiding any name, specific names. You see that? It is not saying Vishnu or Devi or Shiva or Brahma. Very cleverly it says that Almighty, that Brahman, one. Gatum Yajnapataye Daivi Swastirastunaha. Swastirastunaha. Let them be healthy. Let them be well. Swasti means being well. Who? Daivir, the celestials. We believe there is another world of celestials. Let the celestials be well and be very happy and healthy. Swastirnaha, swastir manushebhyaha. Manushebhyaha refers to the living beings on these earths. Human beings, living beings. Swastir manushebhyaha. Let them be well. Let them be healthy. The men and women. Urdhva jigadu beshajam. Beshajam refers to medicinal plants, herbal plants, the ones which cure you of sicknesses, diseases. Urdhvam jigadu beshajam. Urdhvam means going up. Let them grow. Let the herbal plants, medicinal plants grow well. Urdhvam jigadu beshajam. Because we want everybody to be healthy. So if you want to be healthy, naturally, you have to take nutritious food, but sometimes you do get some problems for which you take medicines. So you need medicinal plants, herbal plants. So let them grow well. Sanno astu dipate. Dipate, one which has 2 feet, meaning human beings. Sanno astu dipate. Let the two-footed people be very, very happy, very, very healthy. Sanno, be well. Sanchatushpate, let even the 4-footed beings, which refers to animals, let them also be well. You see how positive it is. It is not wishing well only for human beings or one set of people. It is wishing well for the entire humanity, entire living beings, entire world, entire universe. That is the positive nature of this prayer. And finally it says, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You say it 3 times. Why do you say 3 times? It's not enough if you say only once. You say it 3 times because of a particular reason. You know, we get troubles due to various factors. One is called Adhyatmika, one which are self-inflicted. Like, for example, a person keeps on smoking or drinking or eats junk food or food which are not good for him, certain habits, overworks or causes strain. All these are self-inflicted. Even worry sometimes is self-inflicted. So you need to get away from that, and there is one Shanti for that. For those ills which are self-inflicted, Adhyatmika, by one's own self. So let me be relieved from that, and I pray for peace from those inflictions. Om Shanti. The second Shanti, Adi Bhautika. There are some on which you have only very little control. Sometimes it happens. Like you have mosquitoes, they come and bite you. Or you go in a forest, you get stung by insects. Even though you may protect, you may put Odomos and all that, but still you may have certain elements which continue to give you or make you lose sleep, make you lose peace. You go, you don't know what happened. Suddenly somebody comes and hits your car, which happened in Nashville when I went there to one of the ladies. She was doing all right. Somebody came and hit her. So some things you have to be careful. But you don't have total control. You have only little control. You can probably put a mosquito net and cover yourself. So those factors which are caused, Bhautika, those which are coming from bhutas. Bhutas means other external beings. And they cause you trouble. If you have a Zika mosquito bite, you may get a fever. Malaria is caused by mosquitoes. So you have those ills which are caused by certain factors like bhutas, which is Adi Bhautika. Let me be relieved from those problems. Therefore, you pray Shantis for the second time. What is the third time? It's called Adi Daivika. Those factors which are totally beyond your control. You have no control with all the scientific aids, with all the modern gadgets and devices that you have. You still can't escape from the fury of, let's say, tsunami or earthquakes which happen, storms, floods. Man has not been able to control them totally. In spite of all his efforts, there are certain things which are caused by acts of nature, as they call it. If you see legal agreements, they have acts of nature. They don't cover them. It is beyond your control. So that is Adi Daivika. Therefore, we say Shanti 3 times. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. One, to protect yourself from your own self-inflicted ills. Second, to be relieved of those problems on which you have only reasonable control but not total control, caused by other elements. And third one, that which is caused by acts of nature on which you have no control at all. You can only predict, but you have no control. So this is a beautiful 4-line prayer which is really depicting or reflecting the spirit of being well for everyone, wishing well for everyone. So I say that once again before we close this class. Om Tacham Yora Vridi Mahe Gatum Yajnaya Gatum Yajnapataye Daivi Swastirasunaha Swastir Manushebhyaha Urdhvam Jigatu Peshajam Sanno Astu Dvipate Sanchatushpate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So with that we close today's class. And the exercises, I'll send it to you a little later. I didn't have the time to put it in this slide. I will send you by email. So now I'm going to unmute you. So if you have questions or any comments, go ahead. Anybody raising hand? Yeah, I see Ulka raising a hand. Ulka, go ahead.
Namaste, Guruji. I had a quick question. When you talk about Muhurta,
Yeah.
right, that it is 1.5 hours.
Yes.
And usually when we look at the Panchang, we'll always say, okay, what is the Muhurta? Is
Right.
there a relationship between that and the Muhurta of 1.5 hours?
Typically, it is 1.5 hours.
Yeah.
So the Panchangam gives you the precise timing, okay?
Okay.
And usually it is chosen in such a way that the planetary positions are auspicious. There are different muhurtams, and the astrologers choose a specific muhurtam for conducting a ritual. It is the job of the astrologer, okay?
Okay.
So anyone else? Noise around.
Where is the phone? Give me the phone. Turn it off.
Anyone else? Okay, if there are no other questions, I will conclude this session, and I wish you all a very happy weekend, and we meet next Saturday at the same time, 8 o'clock. And meantime, make sure you revise this lesson and also the previous lessons, especially the exercises, because they give you simple examples, and we will get some questions following this lesson today. It will be related time also. So make sure you submit your answers to those exercises to show me that you understand. And I like very constructive comments in case you want any modification or any changes to it. Please feel free to write. Okay. Namo Namaha.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you all very much. Enjoy this.
Very good, Guruji.